All right. It looks like we are live. I want to give it a few more seconds because um, a lot of times when people just come in cold, it's just very abrupt.
Yep.
So, seconds. Okay. Whoop, 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 whoop. All right. So, anyway, we're live now. Orge
Yep.
hasn't shown up. Oh, yes. Say hello, Andrew.
Hello. Hello, World Wide Web.
What this
Hey,
originally
that's all.
started out as was a opportunity for Orge, who had in a previous conversation with Andrew agreed to have a discussion with him at some point, and so we sent out the email and the links and everything, but haven't heard back from him. But then were sitting here chatting in the back room. I thought, well, why don't we just take this chat live? Maybe bring some people in, and when Orge shows up, and even Beamsy, if he's
Yep.
if he's within listening range, if he wanted to come in, we could still go ahead and talk about geology and creationism. And if not, we can just kind of have a chit chat. And when we feel like quitting, we can quit and maybe reschedule if Orge hasn't shown up.
Yep.
So um, let me go ahead. I'm just going to put the link out there.
Yeah, let's just put the link out there. See a
And
few people in the
I would
site.
pin it, but I don't think I have the ability to do that
Ah,
from my end. So I'll just have to keep putting it out.
only have a certain limit
That's
to your
right.
power.
Yeah, Mike, he really always wants to feel like he's the man in charge. So he always has to hold a little back.
So careful, you might be listening.
So let's see. Had Orge shown up, what would you have wanted to talk to him about first? What would be the first topic? And Dessel, if you want to pop in and chat with us, that would be great as well. If you've got the time and everything. And other than that, I really don't know who's out there. There's just three of us, so it may just be Dessel.
Yes. So I guess what I want to talk about was some more about the whole sedimentary issues that kind of pop up now and again with creationists and when we're arguing against creationists. And one thing I was actually, I guess not to go into it too much, I was telling you backstage, Raw Matt was doing a premiere earlier today.
Raw Matt.
Yep, the Raw Matthew, the Raw Matt of academic fraud fame.
Fraud Matt.
Yeah, and I've pretty much no hesitation saying that live. But basically,
well, the worst thing that can happen is Nicholas, proclaimer of the Messiah, might do an hour or two rant against you.
I'd be flattered if that ends up being the case. So, not many people talk about me online. What was I gonna say? I don't know what I was gonna say.
You're talking about sedimentary, and then we talked about raw mat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I guess one of the things I was gonna ask him was how. Well, are you familiar with the term cross bedding?
Cross bedding? No, I am not.
Okay, so you know how, or not all, but some of the sedimentary layers that form are originally horizontal or flat on top of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, in some situations, namely in river formations or in sand dunes, the because of how the sediment is being carried and deposited, you have a Benghazi. You don't have these nice horizontal layers. Instead, you have kind of slanted boundaries between them as they kind of stack kind of over each other as put it loosely, the sand dune, for example, slumps over once it accumulates too much sediment on the top of it. It kind of just slumps over and you get this Maybe I can pull up a picture or something. Well, you probably get the idea that like you have these slanted layers that are kind of moving in the direction of this flow, basically. And I guess one of the things I was going to ask Orge if he does show up is how do we tell the difference between, say, or what are some of the ways we can tell the difference between cross bedding due to, like I was saying, a sand dune versus cross bedding due to, say, a river flowing over some landscape. And no worries,
Yeah.
Beamsy, thanks for letting us know. Wonder why Dessel hasn't joined.
Well, he may be off busy doing something else, or
Yeah.
he just got finished reading a paper live on his channel, as he tends to do. So he may have to go get a drink of water or something for his throat.
Yep. Let's see.
So if we were going to read a paper here on interest in atheism, what paper do you think we should read? What would be a good candidate?
I was thinking that, or we could react to a video or something.
Yeah, that's cool. What video might you suggest? We could do that right now.
Yeah. Let's see. You want to look up Creation Ministries Alive? They always have entertaining videos. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so here's Creation Ministries International YouTube.
From the feel of this stream so far, maybe we should rename it to Geology and Coffee with Andrew and Orge.
Yeah, or we could just call it Waiting for Orge. Sort of like one of those theater of the absurd kind of existential plays.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't you look one
pick
up?
Any random science topic that shows up, and we'll just react to a little bit of it.
Genetic entropy.
I'm not too much on the biblical stuff, so I'd prefer if you don't do one of those, to be honest.
Do one of what?
Do one of the biblical shows they have, because I won't know half of what they're saying.
Right, yeah. Let's see. Well, I don't see too much on. This is Creation Ministries International, their YouTube page.
Do you want to share your screen, or are you able to?
I can certainly do that.
Maybe that way we can see our options.
All right. I can try to make it a little bigger.
All right. Okay, what's that one to the right? Where is the evidence something? Or down a little bit. There we go. Okay, what's that about?
T-shirts, soda adverts, and everything in between.
Oh my gosh, they're putting it on clothing.
If we're to be honest with the evidence that we have, this picture should look more like this. Let me explain. On the left is what is believed to be the first.
Can you spot the wrong statement there?
Well, first off, he's attacking a picture from the 1960s that unfortunately has become sort of the icon of human evolution, even though it isn't really human evolution.
Yeah, this is one reason why you can safely say that creationism is nothing but a propaganda effort, because if you knew the science, if you knew the lay of the land, what the science was all about, you would know they don't use this anymore. It's not a reliable or accurate educational tool. Even simplified, it's not that great. So why are they
kind of in kind of the way Kent Hovind likes to put the geologic column? There's only two places you find this image. Three places you find this image. One on cool fancy t-shirts. to in classrooms, but to show that, okay, this isn't what evolution is, or free on creationist websites and etc. So,
and of course, the thing he's trying to do is say that there are no transitional fossils.
yeah,
Which is ludicrous for the fact that each fossil they have uncovered and assembled as accurately as they could has aspects of the previous generations and hints at the future generations in them.
yeah, exactly. That's
They're
a good way
always
of putting it.
in some ways halfway between then and later. So even then,
right.
I'm gonna go in the kitchen for a second. So I'm gonna let it play,
Okay.
and just kind of make a quick note if you have something you want to stop and go back to. But I'll be back in a second.
Okay. Is there sound? Uh-oh. That's a weird looking Neanderthal. I don't know why it's not.
Okay, so did it play for you?
Yeah, it's playing. There's just, I don't hear anything for some reason.
Or makeup.
You don't hear any sound?
Found his
Okay,
brain.
now I hear it. That's weird. Okay. So maybe go back a little bit, because I didn't hear sound for the past minute. Okay. There.
All right, here we go again.
Let's try again.
Called Homo sapiens. But what scientific evidence is there for everything else in this image? The transitional species. Let's find out. We'll start with Homo neanderthalensis. You might know him as Neanderthal man. Recent discoveries have shown that Neanderthal man made and wore jewelry, played instruments, used tools, and wore makeup. We've even found that his brain was the same or slightly larger than the average human living today. In other words, Neanderthal man was actually just a man. Homo erectus.
Okay. This kind of... Oh, hold on.
No problem. So, Beamsy says, why do these idiots claim that Neanderthal is one of our transitions? Well, they just don't bother to learn the science, or if they do, they just are learning it with a view to propaganda and disinformation.
All right, I'm back. Sorry. I just got a random phone call. Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of something I heard from one video, basically the fact that kind of going on another transition, the fact that an ancient whale was fully aquatic, therefore it wasn't a transitional whale. And the same thing kind of applies here. Like, oh, it's got these human characteristics, so it's fully human. Well, no. Meception.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I was just putting the link down again, because I know sometimes it's tough to like scroll up.
Yep.
But yeah, it is uception, and I do apologize for that. Let me get the video back. Let me.
Oh, I'm just gonna start repeating.
Okay. Sorry, guys. If you send a note to Speed, he'll send you some aspirin for your headache.
Yep. Okay. Sorry, I was just checking my email. Yeah, that's pretty much all I was gonna say. Like, yeah, so it's got these human characteristics, therefore it's fully human. Like, no, that doesn't follow. And what does fully human even mean in this case?
Right. Yeah. what is a Homo sapiens as opposed to Homo erectus or
Right.
um,
Well, I mean, even then, the criteria they're using here isn't really that great, to be honest, because they're just saying, oh, it's got a big brain, so it's human. Well, lots of animals have big brains. Should we classify like a sperm whale as human because it's got a giant brain? Like, you got to be more specific here.
I want to say hi to Bree from
Hey,
Fudge
Bree.
Science, who has just buzzed in, which is actually a thing you say in the office. Buzz them in, so they can walk up here. And
Hey, Beansy.
It's why do they always represent Homo neanderthalis as a earlier relative than us when they are more of a cousin?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
We
Well, thanks for
come
joining
from
us to talk.
Yeah, we both come from Homo erectus. We don't go from Homo erectus to Neanderthals to Homo sapien.
Right.
That's why we have a lot more similar features, but there are some unusual features.
Right. It's kind of
look at
like,
the rib
well,
cage.
it's exactly the same thing as saying we came from chimps or anything like that. All right, should we let it play a little bit more, Scott?
you want to proceed? Let's
Sure.
proceed.
It would be closer to saying that we came from chimpanzees,
Recent
but
discoveries have shown that Homo erectus made tools, engaged in artwork, spoke intelligent language, and made
Same argument.
clothes. In other words, Homo erectus was also just a man. Now we'll come back to Homo habilis in a moment, but first, let me show you something. Have you ever heard of Lucy, the most famous so-called ape man, paraded in our museums, one of the very first Australopithecus afarensis species ever to be found? But what does the evidence reveal? She had a skull that was sloped and ape-like, nothing like human skulls. Fingers that were curved, not at all like human fingers. Toes that were curved, not at all like human toes. Wrists that had the ability to lock for knuckle walking, and a knee structure that was compatible with life.
Okay, pause for a sec.
So,
listen to what their argument is here. They're basically saying either it's got some human characteristics, therefore it's fully human, or it's got some ape characteristics, therefore it's fully ape, while ignoring the traits that kind of separate the two.
like they're misrepresenting where the skull is actually connected to the spinal column. It's not sloped forwards like that. It actually comes.
Oh yeah, I didn't
underneath.
even notice that. Yeah. Yep.
Now, what's that that place where the spine goes into the skull? The
foramen magnum, I think.
Foramen magnum. He hasn't mentioned that yet. When do you think he'll
Nope.
mention that? And I really wish I could make Gutset Gibbon proud right now, but I can't remember the other aspects that Australopithecus had in common with humans. But see, what he's doing is he's just naming the ape-like
well, they had
and leaving out the human-like features.
Yeah, the Australopithecus had arched feet. They had human-like pelvis. Some of the brain structure was more similar to humans than apes. There was some brain reorganization going on. Not to mention that not all Australopithecus species are the same. Some of the more recent ones actually have teeth dentition that are more similar to today's Homo sapiens than they are to other Australopithecus. So, that's bizarre.
That is, and now, Stupid Horror Energy, thank you for your color commentary there from the side chat. Of course, you're always welcome to click on the StreamYard link and pop in and give your commentary and observations as well. All right, I'm going to hit play again if you don't have anything else to say.
Nope.
So Lucy and her kind swung from trees and looked like today's apes. Lucy.
No, that doesn't sound.
They did actually live in the trees, but they didn't actually swing from trees. They didn't have the muscles. We can reconstruct it because we can actually see where the muscle connections are and see what type of muscles they had. They were designed for bipedal motion with the ability to actually live arborally.
Right.
I would
Right,
predict
exactly.
that
Just
if you
because
put I
Sorry,
would
go.
predict if you put a human child in a tree with an Australopithecine child, that the Australopithecine would swing in the tree better than a human, but probably worse than other earlier apes than
Yeah,
Australopithecus.
probably. Yeah.
So, anybody else?
Oh yeah, stupid or energy makes a good point here. If you want, there we go. I remember when a bunch of creationists did this analysis, and someone made a chart of all these different creationists coming up with different answers as to which was ape and which was human. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because guess what? It's a transition.
That's
It's
right. These are,
flexible.
and where are the transitionary fossils? They're all transitionary fossils.
Right.
But I mean, you can demonstrate the transitions by listening to a qualified primatologist or anthropologist.
It's
talk
why they
about it.
describe fossils as sign markers more than ancestors, because
Right.
it shows a form that resembles what an earlier form would have been, but not necessarily this particular individual or this particular species.
Right.
Like Archaeopteryx might not be the founder of all aves, but it has
Right.
the correct characteristics of both the dinosaur and aves to
Makes
represent a
total
transition.
sense.
Right. It's
But this-
kind of like comparing different degrees of cousins you have common ancestry with, even though you can tell that you had human ancestors in common, parents, great grandparents, whatnot. Even though you don't have to see parents, great grandparents to actually know that that's the case, because the traits you see in common, like you said, that you predict you would see in those cousins you see.
Right.
So the same logic applies here.
don't use that word with them.
What logic?
Yes, it's an unfounded thing that they have. Like moron Matt.
Are y'all ready to continue?
Sure.
Neanderthal man and Homo erectus were all men. Australopithecus afarensis and proconsul were both apes. Considering the ubiquity of the evolutionary
There's
icon,
one more in the middle there.
So what?
I said there was one more in the middle, quote unquote. There. Are you going to talk about that?
And
Maybe
don't
he
forget,
will. Let's
Maybe.
don't
continue.
forget what Homo means. Of course they're men, because they're Homo.
Right.
And hey, they're also still apes too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's right. Yeah. What is that? The law of monophyly? Is that what that's called?
Yes.
Rearing its ugly head once again.
Yeah. Apparently, that's something that I was noticing. Rebecca from Bread of Life just can't get her head around. Is that you actually still are those things that you descend from, even
Does
if
that
those
mean you're still a
things-
whale? You idiot. Oh.
Not that again.
Yeah, the title they're using, from ape to man transition, it's like saying from dog to Labrador transition.
Right.
Is a Labrador still a dog? Oh no, it's a Labrador.
Well, what about with the Labrador when it has kids? Are those still going to be Labradors?
Yes, they're still dogs.
Yep.
They're still mammals. They're still vertebrates. They're still eukaryote. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and hit play.
we want to see some strong evidence for Homo habilis, the pivotal point
There we go.
between stoop ape and upright man, between basic instinct and intelligent thought, between animal voice and intelligent speech.
Okay, so, and I'm sorry to only let it go a few seconds. One of the things that you see with fundamentalism and especially creationist ways of thinking is unwarranted either or syndrome, I guess you would call it, black and white thinking. And you can kind of see that here, like one species is going to be the threshold between two
The
distinct
missing
things.
link.
Right. I don't think so.
I don't really think we need to go in too much depth about why that idea is misguided.
Right.
It's also the same thing if they expect that suddenly a wolf suddenly gave birth to a dog.
Right.
It doesn't work like that.
Right.
The only problem is, in the words of Ian Tattersall, Homo habilis is a wastebasket taxon, little more than a convenient recipient for a motley assortment of hominin fossils. Other scientists referred to him as a
How much anyone want to bet that that's
bones
taken out of some
by a
context?
mixture of human and ape bones.
I would say that A, it's either taken out of context, or B, they found one curmudgeonly paleontologist
That's true. Yeah.
that they took a quote from. So,
What he was actually referring to is at the time in which he made that statement, there was no complete example of Homo habilis.
Okay.
So it was made piecemeal from other pieces of fossils from similar structures, and that's where the idea came from until we found out ASC 2399, I think it is. They actually found a complete 93% completed
Oh wow,
specimen.
that's quite complete.
impressive.
Well, look at the Australopithecus. There are two that are actually, one is 98, the other one was 96% complete.
Oh wow, I
But it
didn't know
took
that.
10 years to excavate the damn thing.
I wonder why they never study those when they're talking about Lucy,
Right.
The creationists. Why don't they look at the ones that we have, or at least supplement their comments about Lucy with the ones that we have from the
No. See, Scott, Lucy was the entire species.
Oh, wow. Well, to have gotten
Species just called Lucy.
yeah.
They don't want to admit the newer fossils that have been found because they're a lot more complete.
Yep.
And Lucy was one individual that was found. They've found thousands of individuals, so it doesn't really help their case when they try and go, oh, but look at Lucy. Look at Lucy. Yes, but what about Java Man? No. Just look at Lucy.
Yeah.
I just want to say that to anybody passing by who might listen into this particular stream at this particular moment in the recording, if you're a creationist, somebody who's been taught young Earth creationism, maybe you have questions, just remember when you see a creationist video, when you read a creationist textbook, see a presentation at a church or what have you, they're not telling you everything. And 85% of what they're telling you is wrong. I know that sounds harsh. I know that sounds unbelievable.
But it's true.
But it's true. If you look into it deeper, you will find that they're just not telling you nearly a complete picture of the story. And the story that is there is really fascinating, and it's fun to talk about with people who respect science. And I would just encourage you to always dig deeper and don't just stick to creationist sources. How's it going, Drace?
Hey, that's all.
What up, though?
Yeah, we're just kind of chatting, talking.
Yeah. I'd say we'll probably finish up this video, and then since we got some people here, we can go into free flow dialogue.
That sounds good. Yeah, I had no idea what you guys were talking about. I just came back to the chat and I saw that Scott had posted the link, so I figured I'd jump on and see what you guys were talking about. Looks like human evolution.
Yeah, we're kind of just doing whatever at this point. We'll see if Orge joins or not.
We're doing whatever we feel like.
Yep.
He probably definitely thought you guys meant geologic time.
Probably so. I think that really helps us understand the mystery that is orge343 right there. He's in geologic time.
Yeah, he's trying to convey to you the long time that these processes take.
Well, we do have Beamsy here, who is an actual geologist, so that's good.
Well, hey, Beamsy, that's pretty cool.
Maybe we'll let Ben.
Specialization is in stratification, which just happens to be the laying down of sediments.
Yep.
Maybe Beamsy, while we're finishing this one up, you can look for a geology stratification creationist video, where they get it wrong, and you can kind of point us in the right direction with it. Does that make sense?
Well, the one I've been criticizing is the Noah flood, other rock layers, different ages.
Cool.
Who did that one?
More on Matt.
Oh no. Oh,
Well-
was that the one that came out today or what?
No, this was a month ago.
Oh,
He had a-
Bree, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right. I'm not Orge. Hopefully Orge comes in, but
Libri.
hey, I like evolution though, so here
Yep.
I am. You lured
Well-
me with hominids.
Ah,
Yes.
the Homo excited it.
Oh, Well, now.
I'm sorry. I clicked
Yeah,
on a
well-
link.
Yeah, that link is the one I've been criticizing because it's just.
are you talking about the one about geologic time is a myth thing? Is it that one or is it older?
Well, there's it's on a channel called Young Earth Creation.
Yeah.
Why you say Noah's flood? Are the rock layers different ages?
Oh, okay, so it is a different one.
It's more on Matt though that did it. It hit from the stupid fucking toddlers.
I don't want to drag the conversation back too much, but our young gentleman that's on the screen now talking about Australopithecines, he had mentioned about their fingers being curved or more curved than Homo sapiens or other members of Homo. That's one of the distinguishing characteristics between Homo and Australopithecines, right, is that they have a little bit of curve to their fingers. Not as much as we see in like arboreal apes or even semi-arboreal apes like chimps, but it's what we expect to find in something that's holding an intermediate position. Is it's not the argument, not the slam dunk that they're thinking it is.
Yep. All right, should we finish it up, Scott?
Let's finish her up.
In other words, Homo habilis never existed. I think evolutionary professor Bernard Woods sums this up well. Our progress from ape to human looks so smooth, so tidy, is such a beguiling image that even the experts are at loath to let it go. But it is an illusion. With the lack
How
of
much you
evidence,
want to bet that was taken out of context?
Say what?
I said, how much you want to bet that was taken out of context?
Probably so. He's probably making the argument it's not as smooth as we make it
Right,
look.
it's not.
Who'd he
It
quote?
didn't happen. So what?
Who'd he quote? I'm on my phone. The screen's tiny.
Somebody named Bernard. Let's
Bernard.
see how
There we go.
Bernard Wood, Professor Bernard Wood,
Okay.
University professor at George Washington. Yeah, professor of human origins.
Yeah, so it probably is taken out.
Looks so smooth, so tidy. It's such a beguiling image. The smoothness is, or I guess the smooth progress.
Yeah,
That even the experts are loath to let it go. Yeah, they want
I mean, you don't have to really even try at this point to have your red flag meter go up at this point.
Yeah. I didn't notice that it had a person's name down there. I thought he was just being weasel words because he's just like the experts say this or whatever, as they tend to do. Not actually citing anybody, but just this is what the experts think. This is what the scientists think.
are at loath to let it go. But it is an illusion. With the lack of evidence and agreement on the ape-human transition forms, why is this not happening? Or this? And is a better explanation.
Whoa. Did you see that? This happening or this? You can either tear it out altogether or just cut out the middle because obviously there's no transitions.
Right.
But or maybe you can draw
There's
more
obviously not another way of doing things.
Yeah, maybe you could draw a more accurate diagram of showing the different hominids and their transitions from one state to another over time. It's okay.
Well, so you
like showing the hundreds of different variations that they found from Homo erectus.
Yeah, Homo erectus was around for
a couple
well over a million,
years.
right?
From what, like 5.2 million years ago? Am I going back way too far?
They were around for about 3.2, and I think they stuck around for about 2 million. But their diversity was so diverse.
Yeah, and they
Right.
so far flung that when you expect to see that in a species that's inhabiting different environments, and even within our human species, we see a lot of variety in sizes based on what kind of environment that the people are living in, and what features are beneficial. You know, people that live in that have lived in marshy regions for long periods of time tend to favor smaller body size, things like that. And we see that with other hominids as well. I mean, you even see island dwarfism among the early hominids with Homo floresiensis.
Yep.
I was so fascinated when they discovered Homo floresiensis.
Well, they were thinking it was a lot more recent than it later figured out to be. It was contemporary with like Homo and Neanderthal, but then they've moved it back a bit.
My favorite is still Australopithecus.
Australopithecus.
I feel attacked here.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm
I
going to
don't
hit play and finish this out.
Yep, let's go.
That man and ape have always coexisted and reproduced according to their own kind, as stated.
Wow, was that a conclusion to follow from it?
You may recognize
Whoops.
this image from school textbooks.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a short, which is good because it's taken us a while to get through it.
Yeah,
But
well, that was still entertaining.
The March of Progress is, it was a noble attempt to express what evolution would look like, or what transition from one species to another would be expected to see. It was never meant to be a display of all of evolution, and it loses some nuance by not having the other branches, showing that Neanderthal wasn't a direct ancestor, but a branch off of our ancestry with the sharing the common ancestor of Heidelbergensis.
You might want to skip the first few bits because he actually rips off the DC entry. So I'm so surprised he hasn't actually been DMCA'd with that.
oh, he
We're gonna
sees
react to
himself
this one too.
Oh,
this should be fun.
So, do you just want to start from here, or do you have a particular place you want to?
Oh no, it's just the first minute of it. He uses things that are protected under copyright, and I don't want you to get hit by it. So, just warning you there.
I think God might have gotten him an exemption from copyright laws.
Hey, sorry for the beeping in the background. I'm just getting some notifications.
So it just sounds like R2D2 is having
yeah,
indigestion.
So it's just gonna be going on for a while. So.
Okay, we hit play.
Watch this. All right.
I already feel dumber just from knowing what it is.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
my
no.
God.
Welcome to the channel, and I wanted to say hi to all the members out there. I haven't been around too much, having work now, so that kind of sucks. And I know that members have been dropping away, so I thought I would at least kind of stream, give you guys some kind of content. And wanted to introduce the Redefined Living joining us today.
Hey, everyone. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. And we also have George Bond, who will be in here soon. And the reason I'm doing this stream specifically on the rock layers in the geologic column is because of a thing that was made. Let's see, where is it? Right here. On Standing for Truth, you can see this video here on the right. It was done 3 days ago. It was
that video.
an interview with Ken Hovind, and there were questions that were coming in about the geologic column. And as you know, when you're put on the spot, especially in a live performance, when somebody throws something specific at you, one, you're kind of confined with the time that you're allowed to answer. And then another problem is only a certain amount of things are going to come to your head. And for instance, when they said prove that the rock layers are not ages, the first thing that came to his mind were polystrate trees. These are trees that go through different geological periods that are predicted to be ages. And I wanted to go over a lot more today than just that. And
Can I just real quick? I just want to say.
I'm sorry, what, Bree?
Real quick, I just want to say that trees are not clade. They are a niche. They're not a grouping of organisms that are related to each other evolutionarily.
That's true.
It's a niche that different organisms fill in an environment. It's an opening, basically, like like apex predator niche. It's the same thing. A tree, the niche of tree is just a part of a biome. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there because they use polystrate trees when they're talking about this, and those are not trees that they're looking at.
And the term should actually be polystrata fossils, because the majority of the ones they show are not actually trees. What they are showing are casts. If you look at them, they're not actual tree fossils. Tree fossils are very different to what they're showing. All it is a cast that was left behind, which could actually be a tree, or it could have been a moss, or it could have just been a void that was left in a layer.
Yep.
I just wanted to make a note here of what Vesta Freya said about that quote earlier from Bernard Wood. She dated that quote at 1978. So it's one of the things that creationists do is not only misquote, they will also quote out of date material and make it seem like it's somehow relevant for today.
Right. And when you're dealing with old material, it's not that hard to find a new paper that has that research in it, because we're always turning over the research and looking at the same data over and over again and making new assessments. So it's not hard to find a citation towards that, because someone that's been doing a research project that is stretching from 1970 to 2020, they will include that data, and you can have a modern paper. You don't have to cite somebody from actually something somebody said in the 70s.
The other thing is, it's because their book, it was right from the first go, and it's unchanging. You're right. But so they're using their original quote, so why can't we?
Right.
Yeah, stick to it, science. You keep changing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna hit play.
Because he went over one of those pieces of evidence, and he can elaborate on it here as long as he has his presentation ready. Because here we have an unlimited time, so we can talk as much as we want now. And it was on fulgurites, which are fossilized lightning that hit the ground and hit some form of silica and leave behind a fossil.
Okay, I'm interested to hear about this from you, BMZ.
Can I bring out a bet and say that I bet that Raw Matt is wrong there?
The only place you'll find them is in soft sediment. You'll never find them as what he's trying to represent. A lot of the ones they actually find are fossilized burrows.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he said that he was talking about fossilized lightning.
What happens is, if lightning strikes something that is high in silica, like sand, it will create dendrites within the sand itself. It solidifies it into the shape of a lightning. And you can find them. You'll find them on the beach. You'll find them in deserts. And they last quite a long time if they're not disturbed. But you will not find them as a fossil, because in what happens when sedimentation gets compressed?
They get squashed.
Yes. You might find fossilized burrows, but that's not the extent of what you'll ever find. And a lot of those they use to say, see, these are fossilized lightning. No,
right.
They're burrows, you dumbass.
Yeah, there's like ancient beaver that for a long time they thought its burrows were tree roots because they were spiraling.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Yeah,
Shall
I was
we
just
play?
face disking when he was mentioning that, just going, "Ah, you idiots."
Yeah.
Well, we're off to a great start. This is going to be
Yeah, the stupid came early with this one.
Yeah, if like I said, if you go to an area that has a high volume of lightning strikes that has sand, you'll find them. They're a lot more common than you think.
right. But that doesn't mean they get preserved all the time.
They can't be preserved because of the way that they are. They are just crystallized silica,
Yeah.
and silica gets compressed very, very
It's
easily.
glass.
Right.
It's just glass.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, yeah.
So
Everything I say, because I'm not a scientist, is always going to be kinda.
right.
Everything I say should have an understood kinda in front of it.
Right. Well, I mean, the point still stands. So, like, take even a big piece of glass, put it under a mile of sedimentary rocks, and let's see how long that lasts.
Right. Okay, ready to hit play?
Sure.
And they go through different.
Oh wait, actually, one more thing.
So I thought that would be a real.
Yes.
I do want to give thanks to Beamsy for providing us with the link and his thoughts on this video. So thanks, Beamsy. Just before we move forward.
Thank you, Andrew.
Yep.
We shall continue.
Really cool one as well. And then we will also go through many others. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about is I made this document a while ago. And it was for a guy named Michael who asked a question about Africa and how did the floodwaters go over the continent and how did we see it. And then I decided to add my presentation today at the bottom of this so I can share it with everybody and you can follow along if you like as well. So
do you see how the polystrata tree they're representing?
Yep.
Do you see how there's no features or anything into it?
Right.
That's more than likely the void left behind by a lycopole, a moss.
Hmm.
So those are moss.
More likely it's a moss fossil, yes.
That's what I was saying about. That's what I was saying about the tree being a niche, because at this time when this happened, club moss filled that niche.
A lot of things look like giant trees.
Yeah.
But you can also see that there's no features on the actual fossil itself.
Oh yeah.
If you look at fossilized trees, you could actually see the bark, you can see the rings left behind of it. Whereas if you look at that thing, it would just look like a piece of rock. It's just that it would be mudstone compared to slate.
That's a good point.
Yeah, almost all polystrate fossils are lycopods. Almost all the ones I've seen, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen an actual fossilized tree being polystrata.
And by tree, you mean the angiosperm trees?
Yes, by a tree, not a polymorph like the lycopods.
Ready to continue?
Yeah,
sure.
Sorry, I just had to.
Probably go more into
it. No, I don't want to go before.
Well, I would love to talk about when fungus was filling the tree niche at some point, but we can continue on.
We need to have you on to talk about fungus in general, Bree. That would be a great topic.
I love talking about mycelia too. Beamsy's got to be there if we pick a day to talk about that, though, because sounds like Beamsy is into this stuff like I am.
Like I said, I'm more into rocks.
Me and Beamsy interrogated. Who was it? Was it Bubblegum?
Yes.
Yeah. That was a fun night.
I was being patient. I was being nice, even though I just wanted to slap the bitch. Sorry.
Because chins, right?
Chins. Roll the dice.
Oh, if we rely on the chins, does that mean we're related to manatees and elephants because they've got chins?
Okay, I'm going to hit play if nobody objects.
Okay.
Since you don't know anything about the presentation I'm going to give, and anything I might say, might just be.
I really hope he doesn't actually talk about what he's got on screen. Scott, you're muted. Scott.
Did I hear your voice, Andrew?
Yeah, or it seems like when you're muted, we can't hear or at least I can't hear the video. I don't know if that's just me now.
So this whole time was just one big blank?
Just the last few seconds.
It's because you've got it coming through the wrong line. You've actually got it coming through your microphone, not the audio lines.
I'm not really good when it comes to sounds. Let me try it. Okay, I've got a Realtek high definition audio and a Realtek digital output. Should I set it to the output? Let's try it. Well, apparently not.
Nope.
I think raw mat sounds better this way anyway.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so that time, did y'all hear anything at all?
Nope.
Okay, well, I will just make sure I don't try to play and mute it. See, what I tried to do was sneak into the kitchen and get another Diet Coke, and apparently I shouldn't have put it on mute.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay, I'm going to hit play. That's a little too much inside production for our audience. Just say the usual Dannykins or pause or whatever if you have a comment you want to make.
Oh, am I echoing?
Argument that the critics always use. So what?
I'm sorry, your comment?
I'm sorry, am I echoing at all? Or
no?
Oh, if I was for okay, never mind.
What I like to do is hit them with about 10 different things, and that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to go through all of them at the same time and show you that there is no possible way that each individual layers are eons of time.
Ooh, this should be good.
Time, because as you know, each layer can be anywhere from 10 million years to 700 million years. Just depending on their thickness when they believe it was laid down. Was it in the ocean at one time? Things like that. So I'm just going to use vague terms. And I did start with the.
One question I have is, to your knowledge, does Raw Matt actually believe in these millions of years, or does he somehow convert it to the time of the flood? Did you hear?
What are you asking?
I'm just throwing it out there to the panel. To your knowledge, Beamsy, does Raw Matt believe in actual millions of years, or does he somehow in his brain convert them down to one weekend in September during the flood?
One weekend in September.
Okay. Thank you, Dessel.
No problem.
There's a lawnmower going right in a second. I'm going to mute.
Polystrate trees, because Kit brought something up interesting, but I also wanted to show a couple of different things regarding that. And what you guys can see here on the middle of your screen, I tried to enlarge it. It works so good. I guess I can just remove ourselves. There we go. That seems to work. What you guys are looking at in the middle is the trees themselves are actually going through different geologic layers of time. And this is good because this shows that these trees were deposited somehow. Because
no. Hold on.
Systems. Most trees, with the exception of maybe palm trees.
So they're not going through geologic time. They are going through a sedimentary shift in the landscape. So it's not like this is necessarily showing billions of years. It's just showing from where the river bank shifted or a lake flooded in or
Right.
something along those lines.
because not all layers form, surprisingly, in millions of years.
Right. Especially sedimentary layers. They're the most shifty of all the layers.
Yep.
It's one reason why they don't use sedimentary layers to get the date.
Right.
Yep.
Because of the inclusions too, of course, which makes sedimentary layers hard to use for dating. Anyway, go ahead, Scott.
Trees and ferns, they have root systems that are larger than the tree itself. But in instances of these polystrate trees, we don't usually find root systems at all. And if they do, they're broken off. So that's
really?
That these things were moved around. Hold on, George is asking a question. Sorry.
Really, we don't find
any roots, apparently.
On lycopods, which don't have a root system.
Problem solved.
Right, they're club mosses. They just have a little ball down there at the base. That's why they fell over so easy. They didn't live very long either, like our trees do. They live like grasses.
Lycopods particularly actually lived for a very, very long time. It's just that the way they grew, they were more like a mushroom.
Are you talking about their lifespan? I know that they've been around a long time, but I don't think they have long lifespans.
Lycopods
relatively quick.
No, lycopods you can find they can live for a couple hundred years, but it's a variation of club moss. That's why you can find them going through different flood layering within the sedimentary rock, and why they create the voids like that.
Okay, I was under the impression that lycopods were short-lived compared to modern trees.
They're quick growing, but they're unsure about their lifespan because there's no way to tell how long a club moss lives because it doesn't have growth rings.
Yeah, that's true.
May we continue?
Yes.
I think he's reading George.
Okay. I'm also keeping an eye on chat. For some reason, it's spammed off the bottom. Blood to caffeine ratio. Okay. Oh, wait, there's a question. Hold on. I know those in opposition of the young Earth creation model claim that the geologic column is found in many locations around the Earth. Is that true or not? No, that is absolutely not.
It's absolutely not true. Okay. I'm going to let him elaborate a little more, but I just wanted to nail him down here.
Not true. There is one place on Earth where they can find it, but the fossils are not there. So the rock layers that they think should exist does exist.
Citation needed.
But in the next location next to it, in Palestine, it's completely upside down, the entire geologic column.
Okay, so does he mean Palestine like in Israel or Palestine, Texas?
Or is it Syria Palestinia, which is actually up near Jordan?
Yeah. But what have you got to say about what he has to say, or do we need to listen to more, Beamsy?
Well, let's put it this way. He is speaking out of an orifice, but it's not out of his face.
Okay, so I infer from that you are telling me he is wrong.
Yep.
Quite drastically, because it's not all sedimentary layers will have fossils. You will only find specific styles of sedimentary layers has fossils. Yep. Like if you go to a flood deposit, you will not find very many fossils in there. Or if you go to something like a slate, again, that will actually have a lot of fossils in it because of the way that it's actually formed and the deposition.
I seriously hope he doesn't think all sedimentary environments have fossils in them.
Also, I just want to point out to anybody who might be just kind of skimming by, just kind of coming in and listening for a few seconds and then exiting. Note how confident raw mat is. Note how deep his voice is, how loud, how he's sitting up straight, looking. He's even looking at the camera. You can do all those things that they teach you to do in speech class or whatever, and still be totally bullshit wrong.
Yep.
And so don't be convinced by people who seem confident, seem strong in their ways and deep in their knowledge, because they may be deep in something else. And let us continue as we experience this.
I've got an answer to Stupid Horror Energy.
Okay.
The aspect of what he's trying to represent is, yes, the layers might be laid down at different times in history, but it's all the same age because it's all the same stuff. Yes, that works with sedimentary rock, but explain igneous incursions, explain stuff like traps, explain stuff
he
like...
doesn't get all that. I tried explaining it to him. He doesn't.
Yeah, it's... Yes, all the sedimentary layers are just old parts of the Earth that have been moved around, but it's important about the time in which it was laid down. That's the important aspect, not that it's, this layer of dirt is 500 million years old. We have no way of telling that with sedimentary rock.
Okay, are we ready to hit play?
Yeah, it's just the one thing that frustrates. That's the biggest thing that frustrates me about Mr. Hovend.
Mr. Hovend. Okay, I'm gonna hit play.
So they need index fossils to prove their geologic column to be true. Now you have to remember, a prediction made by evolutionists Charles Lyell and Darwin stated that there would be something called slow geologic time, and it became known as Darwinian gradualism. And this prediction is that
what? No.
What did we?
I think he's referring to uniformitarianism here, but I mean, yeah, they kind of said that would generally be the case, but surprise, surprise, no one holds to Lyell type uniformitarianism anymore in geology.
Geologic layers, and in these geologic layers, animals that would be transitioning are transitional fossils, slowly over time, over millions of years. So therefore, anything that would be contrary to this would be a falsification of that. So for example, stasis, that would be a falsification. Yet we find many examples of stasis. Another good example of that.
What does he mean by stasis? Like things not evolving over certain
sort of kind of thing. Yeah.
It's something called homeostasis. It's where a form stays very, very similar to its precursor forms. Like the coelacanths are similar looking, but if you actually studied them, the coelacanths we have now look nothing like the coelacanths we have in the fossil records. They just have a similar...
I will note it is just called stasis. Homeostasis is a different thing.
Yeah. I thought it was homeostasis. Oh, you'd have to ask him.
Yeah, homeostasis is chemical equilibrium. Just being nitpicky there.
Yeah.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, but the idea is he's saying that there shouldn't be any kind of equilibrium with the environment, or he's saying there should be, and there doesn't always seem to be.
Well, it's just only raw mat could conflate a bunch of terms and get Darwinian gradualism, punctuated equilibrium, uniformitarianism, and all that mixed up in one statement.
Wrong, many syllables at a time. Okay, I'm gonna hit play.
Would be punctuated equilibrium, where
there
things rise out of nowhere and rapidly diverge and change into different things, very similar to itself. Those are two things that we do see, and these are falsifications of gradualism. And they had to invent these things because that's what we found in the geologic column. There shouldn't have been those things there, but that is what we saw. They always bring that up in debates and rattle off locations. Correct, yeah. They'll say, oh, but we found the geologic column over here, and we found it over there. What they're doing is they're playing the typical word salad game where if
projection much? Anybody have a comment on what he's said since the last pause?
Not really.
Okay.
they found the geologic column absolutely complete in one region, what would that mean? What would that mean for us? Well, first of all, our predictions are that the geologic column exists, but that it's not eras of time. Of course, we're going to find aquatic sea life in the lower layers because the flood started in the ocean.
So then,
flooded over the land.
Okay.
So we should find a.
So then, why do people like Kent Hovind claim that finding no complete geologic column is a problem for evolution, as if implying that like no geologic column is evidence for creationism?
Yeah, Kent and Matt Powell both have made videos saying that they don't believe the geologic column exists at all. So, aren't they in Standing for Truth stable over there? They should probably
Yeah.
get together and check each other's work so that they're not making contrary
They're not contradicting each other.
Yeah.
It looks like Stupid Horror Energy has a comment, but they line up, don't they? When you line them up with index fossils, there aren't any fish in the Hadean.
That is true. Yep.
Okay.
There's not anything in the Hadean because we don't have anything left from that besides some zircons.
Yeah.
But what she's getting at there is still true. Like the common phrase, "You won't find a rabbit." In the
Cambrian. It's become such a meme at this point. There's an award named after it. But anyways, I digress.
Yes, I think the award is "You won't find a bunny with a brontosaurus."
Is that more or less prestigious than the golden crocoduck?
That's a good question. It might just be different organizations that give it.
Yeah, I could see that. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
I actually know the person who runs the golden crocoduck.
Oh, really?
It's not King Crocoduck. People always think that, but it's
Yeah. Isn't it Potholer 54?
No, it's his name's Max Spiegland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Aquatic life in the beginning. Now, if you guys have been following this for the last 3 years, like I have, they first said, "Look at this. Our ancestor is a sponge." That's where Kent got SpongeBob from, right? He was making fun of it, and that is true. We found a sponge in the very deepest layers, so therefore it became the first Luca, universal common ancestor. Then all of a sudden,
no, that's not what Luca means.
So you're claiming that Rawmat has a misunderstanding of what Luca is?
Yes, Luca isn't.
What people often misunderstand about Luca is that it was part of a population, and there were other organisms around besides whatever species Luca was at the time too. They just didn't leave any descendants. That's how ecology works. It's not just Luca arose by itself. Luca is just the only one that has surviving descendants at this point.
Right. That, and I Ramat, get this for your, just to put it bluntly, fixed skull. Most recent common ancestor and last universal common ancestor are not the same thing. Okay? Okay.
And the biggest reason why Kent Hovind actually uses SpongeBob is because he wants to be Patrick, the retarded friend.
Yeah. All right, let it play.
Okay, now I'm getting a request to see if there's any way I can higher the volume of the video.
It is kind of low.
Huh. I don't know how I would do that.
Or it's probably because it's coming for your mic, so I don't know if you can do anything about that.
How would I feed it? Is that like a StreamYard setting?
I'm not sure.
Here's audio.
I like how we're already like half an hour in and we're only 11 minutes into the video.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at for you.
Did y'all hear that testing the speaker thing?
Yep.
Okay, virtual background. Is there a sound setting on that? No. General. Oh. Audio.
So, BMZ, since we might not be able to go through the entire video here, is there a specific part you'd like to highlight or go over, or a really particularly bad part, I guess?
Oh, wow. I found the banned guests section of StreamYard.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, most of them are just garbage.
Actually, a ton of Danny sock accounts.
Yeah, I was just wondering. There's there's a bunch of Dannies.
I bet.
Well, I've never been in this room before.
Are you there, BMZ?
BMZ. Did I turn something off? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Maybe Beamsy went to get his own Diet Coke.
He might have. Is Stupid Horror Energy calling this whole live stream a...
I think he's calling the video. I think he's saying the video is a train wreck.
Well, Stupid Horror Energy, I feel bad. I wish I knew how to raise the volume, but I don't.
Oh, well.
And I don't know if technologically it's possible, but it seems like I would. I mean, the volume here is as high as it'll go on the actual YouTube video.
Okay, Dave is saying try something out.
In Control Panel, under Sound, Playback, scroll to the bottom. There is a line in... Okay, so go to Control Panel.
Or maybe he's saying click the settings down at the bottom.
Dessel, would you provide us with a musical performance while we work on this issue?
Play the violin.
Okay.
Good response.
Yeah, I'm not very good at singing. Only certain songs.
Okay, here I'll just make a promise. Dave, I will check that out and thank you for that suggestion. And Stupid Horror Energy, please raise the volume on this video, and I will do my best to see if I can improve the sound at a later time when we're not live on the air. How's that sound?
Yep.
And if people are having too much trouble hearing, then we can certainly try to do something about it. Oh, is there a guest?
Found a jellyfish, and then the jellyfish became the ancestor. Then they found a worm, and the worm makes the most sense of all because the worm actually burrows in the ground when they start getting flooded, which, of course, if the flood is so strong that they can be buried with mud, they're going to be the deepest. And now the worm is our oldest ancestor. Hold on, George. Didn't get my link. 1 second.
Okay, wait.
Chime in, redefine living if you want to.
You know, the geological column.
So apparently sponges and worms aren't found on the upper layer. Like, I hear this claim so often, and it's just such an oversimplification of the faunal succession we see. And anyways.
So are you wanting to continue?
Sure, yeah. Just making sure someone else want to say something.
Yeah, definitely. Speak up, guys, if you're wanting to say something or make a comment.
To me, it seems like a contradiction. And I've asked people like Ulrich before, who's a critic that joins a lot of these streams. So, you know, on one hand, they're appealing to this uniformity. You nothing really changes. The present is the key to the past. But then when you look at the geological column, you have all of these different layers. Well, based on their own model, each one of those layers would have be the result of some drastic change. So when you go to some place and you see all of these different layers, well, something had to change in the environment to create the new layer, to stop that old layer and create the new layer according to their model. Which to me,
oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
What's causing you to spaz out?
Redefine Living just said something that's actually essentially correct about geology.
And what did he say?
He said as the environment abruptly changes, you get abrupt changes in the sedimentary layers. Bravo.
Bravo.
I'm actually kind of surprised. I know that sounds mean, but
At least,
some of the stuff I've heard from him.
At least you're giving credit where it's due, and you're encouraging people to improve.
I'm back. What did I miss?
Somebody got something right.
Oh, Redefine Living did?
Yep.
That's Sam, right? Good for you, Sam.
Yep.
And those layers, those boundaries are really sharp. And so, whatever that change was, it had to happen quick. And when I've asked this question to them, it just seems like I'll either get a rhetoric answer, like, go take a science class or something like that, or just a total dodge, like, or he's dodged me big time when I've asked him to explain that. It just seems like a contradiction. Don't know.
Oh man, I wish you'd give whatever his response was.
Yeah, the geologic column is one of the first things that evolutionists like to bring up in debate, and I really like that they try that, because it actually destroys them later. Because remember, to them, evolution is nothing but genetics and biology, and they can't really use the fossil record, which is ironic that they like it so much. But stopping real quick in our tracks.
Okay,
hey, George.
that's dumb.
Hey, George.
Good morning. Yeah, I was in bed when I saw your message. I'm not really sure. Are we live now, or is this just a recording?
That's it.
I am live to my members, so two people
okay.
probably.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm live, but there's just a few people here. We mostly will get Doki Dog, Iron Matt, and Timothy. Those are like the three guys that'll show up, and I think they're here now.
Yeah, good to see you guys. I can't respond in chat, but I see it. So hope you guys are doing great today on this Sunday.
Yeah, George, I wanted you to join on this one because of no notification. Shocker, right? I wanted to bring you in on this because I'm going to be going over the layers are not ages on the geologic column. And I was letting everybody know that about 3 days ago when Kent was on, he was asked how these are not layers of time, and he used polystrate trees, and you brought up the fulgurites, which is fossilized light.
Yes, I actually wanted to do a separate stream on that, but I think it can be covered in about half an hour, actually, maybe even less. But it's quite interesting. Do you want me to go through it, Matt?
We're going to actually. I'm going to go over a whole bunch of different things that I think destroys the idea that these layers are ages. And now down near the bottom, I have that because I was hoping you would join, so I saved it for last.
Okay, well, I'll wait for the end then.
Okay, we were going to start with these polystrate trees, and I guess this is good that a question was asked all around it, which is bioturbation. And that is one of the topics I actually get to down here. So we are going to cover that specifically, but some of the polystrate trees theoretically should have bioturbation near the base, but bioturbation is something that we don't really find in these rock layers. And most of them, especially these trees, these polystrate trees, were deposited from a flood, so we don't even find their root system. And wherever we would find their root system is where we would find that bioturbation. Now, there should be some places on Earth, I'm sure, where we would find it because floods still happen to this day, but they're happening on the surface. So I'm not saying that we won't ever find it, but so far we don't see that. And the reason why is because, as you can see from these images, is these trees occur in different layers, upside down, sideways, upright, and one of the main reasons for that is the flood of any type. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a global flood, but a flood is the reason that they happen. And John Mackay actually has an experiment that he did. I don't think I have it saved to show you guys, but I might. And it's a really good. Sorry, go ahead.
Bioturbation, you mean like soil, right?
That's organisms that. That's this. I'll have to show you. It's organisms that go up and down inside the soil, and they leave behind traces. And this is what it looks like if they become fossilized. But as you can see, this is inside of one rock layer. But here's an example of that same living organism going through multiple rock layers. So how could they have been alive for millions of years? Many different millions of years on rock layer.
Yeah, something to say with that, Beansy?
Is somebody having a crisis?
Me.
Are we subjecting you to too much stupid all at once?
It's going through different stratas. No, it's freaking not. It's tunnels that are being filled with different stratas, you dunce. Oh, it's...
So you're saying the rocks were already there, something burrowed into them, and then it was filled with sediment.
Dumbass.
Okay, guys, it's 8:00. We're going to do I'm going to need to do a hard stop to it at 8:30.
Okay.
I just want to let people know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should just call it off now because it doesn't seem like Orge is going to be appearing, and I got some stuff I need to take care of too. So
yeah,
it's too loud for me to sit out here anymore. So I'm going to.
And it's hurting my head.
Yeah.
Well, for all these reasons, especially for the sake of Beamsy's sanity, we no human should be subjected to this much. So we'll just go ahead and
for our lively audience, consider that a preview to what Beamsy will be going over. Hopefully,
I have been trying to go through it for the last week, and it's just I can only handle it at 20 minutes at a time.
Yep.
You know, I think that's probably the safest you can do with this stuff.
That's why I've come to calling him moron, Matt.
There's no way to scrub this stuff off of you.
I've got another one that I've been doing. I need to cut it down from 50 hours worth of criticism.
Yeah.
Can I just say that, stupid whore energy, you are the noblest gas of all.
That's right.
I have to agree with that.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hit end broadcast, and everybody have a wonderful evening.
Bye.
If you learn something, make sure you come back and tell us about it. Talk to you later.
Good night.
But he never turned up.